Yo, what's going on guys? Ian77 here. In today's video we're going to be playing the trendiest hog deck in Clash Royale. Alright, hopping in the first match, we're going to be up against Boss. So, I'm sure many of you guys probably know Boss. He's a very good Clash Royale player in general, and he does have a YouTube channel of his own. So, should be a pretty interesting match here. Just going to go with Hog first play. Not really too sure what he's running, but seeing the Hunter, it could probably be like RG or like some minor cycle deck maybe with like wall breakers, but I'm just gonna have to wait and see what he's playing here. And yeah, so the deck we're running today, it's pretty much like the normal hog deck I usually run. The only difference is that we are going to be running giant skeleton in the deck, and I'm not running the giant skeleton as like a meme or anything. It's like actually super good in this deck, and the reason it's so good is just because it provides just like a really nice tank for the hog. Like it kind of allows you to break through those buildings a lot more easily when you have like that just like really big tank, just like kind of tanking for it really nicely, and also kind of solid on defense as well with like the death bomb, even though it's not as strong as before. But the giant skeleton itself actually does good damage now, so it can be used pretty nicely on defense. And he's gonna go with an RG in the back, so I'm just gonna mirror it with the giant skeleton. The only thing is that like in this matchup, the Fisherman can just like easily pull away the giant skeleton every time, so it's not really going to be able to do too much damage to the RG, and he does have Hunter for our hog, so not the best here, but we're going to get quite a bit of damage there. I kind of went with like the hog in the middle, hoping to like predict a high Fisherman, but he ended up going with it quite a bit lower, so it didn't really work out too well for us. I'm not really sure if we're going to be able to defend this here. Just going to like make sure to push his queen off our tower using those skeletons, and Hog should like just barely defend his queen, so honestly that could have been a lot worse. I kind of thought we just lost the game right away, but we're still in it right now. And he's gonna go with an E-Spirit as well, supporting that ghost. I guess like trying to predict skeletons or something, but I didn't even have any skeletons in cycle, so it didn't really make too much sense. And I'm just gonna go with the queen at the bridge here, kind of blocking the lane from like him going with like an RG or something like that. And he's still gonna go with the RG, but it's just like right into a queen, so RG should be like pretty much dead here in a second. I don't even know if he'll get a shot on our tower. Looks like it doesn't get any hits, and his Fisherman will still pull back our hog, kind of unfortunate, but it will actually get one shot off, so yeah, looking pretty good right here. And I don't think the ghost will splash our tower or anything, so we're in a pretty good spot here. And he's going same lane as us, and honestly it's pretty good to go same lane when you're running giant skeleton. Like normally with most hog decks you want to go opposite lane, but it's not even too bad to go in the same lane when you're running the giant skeleton variant, just because it kind of will force them to not really be able to make any type of push, because they're just like kind of just blocking the entire lane, so they don't really have much space to really do anything. And we're just gonna go with a Hog Rider right here as well. He might go with like a Fisherman or something, but if he tries to activate his king tower, I think the hog will still get like a shot on his tower. And he does actually go with the Fisherman, but he does misplace it there, so allows the hog to get some damage on his tower. And we do have two giant skeletons down. I think that Fisherman may actually pull the giant skeleton into the tower, and yeah, looks like that will be a good game. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against this guy, and yeah, so like in terms of playstyle, this deck is pretty similar to the other hog decks that I've shared on the channel recently, other Hog EQ decks. You kind of just want to cycle your cheap cards at first. You don't want to go like too aggressive with giant skeletons early on. You kind of want to wait and see exactly what your opponent's running and what counters they have for your various things. So you do want to be a little bit careful when you're using your giant skeletons, but it kind of isn't like super different from a Valkyrie. You can kind of go with it like pretty freely sometimes, but especially at the start you do have to be a little bit more careful. It really depends on the matchup, like how freely you can actually go with your giant skeletons. And looks like we're going to be facing an interesting Mortar Golden Knight deck here. Not really too sure what like his last cards might be. I don't really see anyone running this deck, at least besides this guy, but yeah, and in general Mortar is a pretty good matchup with Hog EQ. You do have to be a little bit careful nowadays though, since the Earthquake did get a pretty big nerf. It's not quite as strong against these Mortar decks and all of that as it used to be, but unfortunately the Fire Spirit did actually get targeted by the Musketeer there. I was kind of hoping the Musketeer would have stayed locked onto the giant skeleton, but it kind of ruined our defense right there. So he's going to defend. I mean, he's not going to defend, he's just going to like go on offense and do quite a bit of damage, and also like completely kill our counter push. But Honestly, not the worst spot though. I think I will go opposite lane in this matchup just because he does have poisons. Like I can't really go with like queens in the same lane as him unless I go with them super high. Otherwise, it's just not really gonna get any value, I feel like, and it's just gonna give him like a free poison. But I'm gonna go with a queen right here just to make sure that it will distract the mortar pretty well. I'm also gonna pop the ability right here. I was kind of expecting that he might go with like something like bats or anything like that on it. And he's gonna go with musketeer as well, but now he has pretty much no elixir, so I'm gonna go with a log here, predicting guards maybe, and yeah, he's gonna go with the guards here. So earthquake actually should finish it off pretty easy, and he's gonna get some mortar damage, but we're gonna actually take the lead once again just from all of that chip damage right there. So yeah, looking pretty good here. Now we can kind of just like set up a giant skeleton and hopefully like build up a big push. And sometimes giant skeleton can even like enable your hog to bypass buildings, so if you get lucky that could also be a way for you to break through. And yeah, so we do have earthquake in this deck. I know some of you guys like say or ask if you could run fireball instead of earthquake, and honestly you probably could get away with it, but I feel like earthquake's pretty nice in this deck, probably a decent amount better, because you do have kind of like the fire spirit to do that splash damage that you're missing out on from not having a fireball. And I don't know, I feel like earthquake's really nice to just break through a lot of decks. And yeah, you can see it's like helping a lot here against this mortar deck. Like I think with fireball we wouldn't really have a chance to win here, but Hog actually does somehow get a hit through all of that, and just gonna defend these bats. You don't want to be too aggressive and start earthquake cycling too early. Just want to make sure we get this good defense down. And then now I'm just going to go with a giant skeleton at the river and also a hog rider, and you don't even have to worry too much sometimes if your giant skeletons are getting a lot of value on defense. You can kind of just like plop them at the river just to like tank for stuff, and hog will actually bypass that mortar due to like a bit of pushing, so that will be a good game. Alright, hopping in the next game here, we're going to be up against this guy, and I'm pretty sure this guy's an ice bow player, so I'm actually just going to do a crazy play right here. I'm going to go with hog plus queen at the river first play. I know you guys might think it's a crazy play, and he's going to defend that pretty well with the rocket there, but sometimes against some difficult matchups such as ice bow, it's actually a good play to go in with the hog queen first play, just like praying they have a bad cycle, because it is a pretty bad matchup, so you kind of want to get that early chip damage if you can, otherwise you don't really have too much of a chance. And I think we do still have a chance here, but it should be a pretty difficult matchup, so I'm not really too sure how I feel about this. But just gonna go with that giant skeleton in the back to mirror his knight, and he's gonna go with an expo there, but not really too sure why he'd do that, because I think giant skeleton will tank it pretty well here, and we do have earthquake as well, which should kind of clean up everything with the log right here. And yeah, so I'm not really too sure how to feel about this matchup. Maybe giant skeleton could help a little bit compared to Valkyrie, because it can kind of just like tank the tower, so our hog can have like more time to like be hitting his king tower and like even potentially like 3 crown him if he keeps tornadoing too many hogs to the king tower. So maybe giant skeleton could be nice right here, but we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. And yeah, unfortunately that's the play that a lot of them do. They'll just like go with rockets on your tower, and you can't really do too much here. But as you can see, what we're doing here is we're often going with like the queens, which get pushed by the hogs, so it's kind of allowing our stuff to get a little bit of damage sometimes, just because like the queen's speed is increased by so much. And I don't know if it's really too worth it for us. He did get like more damage than we got, because he spent a rocket and he got like nearly 600 damage, and we only got like 400 damage with our hog hit. But I think we are going to be up a couple of elixir still, so or maybe not, but we're still in a pretty okay spot here. We do have to be a little bit careful with cycling our giant skeletons too far back though, because if we play the giant skeletons behind our king tower, he's probably just going to go with a rocket on them in the tower, so you have to be a little bit wary here. And he's going to have that defensive expo, and he's going to go for a pretty bad tornado there, and he's actually going to kind of mess up that tussle there. Didn't even pull the hog rider, and it is going to allow us to get 2 hog hits right there, and he's still going to have to spend the ice wizard. So honestly super good for us right there. Really clean sequence. And yeah, so you can see like the fire spirits are also getting a lot of value here. It did actually force him to spend his entire night there just on like a little fire spirit. So yeah, I would definitely recommend running fire spirit in this deck. You could honestly run ice spirit if you really wanted to. I wouldn't ever recommend running e spirit in hog, to be honest, at least not in these hog EQ decks, to be honest. I probably wouldn't ever run e spirit, but I feel like Ice Spirit and Fire Spirit are both pretty good options. And he's with an Expo here on offense, but honestly not really too worried about it. Just EQ log it, and since he wasted his skeletons, now he's not really gonna have anything good to do with the Fire Spirit, so he's gonna have to spend an entire night on it, which kind of is gonna put him in a bad spot again, like not really able to save up his elixir to do what he wants. And he will go with the rocket on our tower here, but he's gonna miss his tornado. Yeah, I mean, Ice Bow players sometimes be like that, and yeah, so looking pretty good just from that missed tornado. It kind of allowed us to get all that extra damage that we needed. He kind of messed up like 2 tornadoes this game, which really allowed us to get all this damage. You kind of just have to capitalize on their mistakes. Sometimes there are pretty hard matchups like this, but you can see if they make a few mistakes, you can still pretty easily win, so you should always try your best. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against this guy, and he might be playing Lava Loon or something. He does have Lava Loon as his clan name, so just going to wait a second before I hog first play, just to make sure that we go opposite lane of him, because don't really want to hog, and then he goes like Lava first play in the same lane, otherwise he's going to be able to build up a huge push. But I'll go with the hog right here since he did waste his tombstone, and looks like he does have guards here, so yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be running Lava Loon here, but the nice thing is that he no longer has any ground responses for a giant skeleton, so if we just like go with a giant skeleton at the bridge, I think it's pretty much guaranteed to at least get the death bomb damage. And he's going to go with the lava in the back here, so he's going to go with the giant skeleton. I don't really think he has any way to distract it, so it's at least going to get like probably most of his tower right here. He might even just let it go and try to take our tower, but I'll probably just let him take our tower here. I'm just going to defend if I can, but if he commits a lot to it, I'm probably just going to let it go. And yeah, so notice how we played our cannon 1 tile higher there. I was kind of expecting him to go with like a push with like skeleton dragons or like minions, so that cannon placement was still able to pull the balloon, which worked out pretty nicely here for us. He's going to take our tower, but we took like half of his king tower, and his tower on the right's like quite a lot lower in HP compared to our full health towers. So yeah, looking pretty good right here. Just gonna cycle skeletons, and kind of want to protect this queen a little bit longer if I can, but I'm actually gonna go with this hog here to hopefully 3 crown him. Well, it's not gonna 3 crown him, but it's gonna kind of apply a bit of pressure and hopefully put a bit of pressure on him for the 3 crown. And yeah, so he's gonna waste guards on that, so he's not really gonna have anything for this giant skeleton, I think. And you can see like giant skeleton is actually pretty much carrying in this matchup. They'd actually like buff it a while ago so that the giant skeleton death bomb does do like double damage towards crown towers, I think. So yeah, it does do quite a bit of damage when it hits the tower, and I think Hog should take his tower. He doesn't really have too much to stop, and you can see like we're really just running this guy thin. Like he has a few responses to our cards, but he never really has the correct response for everything, so we're able to like punish him with one thing or another pretty much every time. And he's gonna go with guards that we can just like log it away, and I don't really think he has any way to stop this giant skeleton. So you can see like pretty much the giant skeleton is like carrying for us right here, and Hog is gonna get one more shot, so that will be a good game. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're gonna be up against this guy. Not really too sure what he's playing here, so I will just go with the Hog first play, kind of feel out whatever he's playing. And Hog first play is always good with this deck, even though you do have a little bit of a heavier deck having giant skeleton. It's still a pretty good first play, and just gonna go with the cannon here, but unfortunately the prince is actually gonna kind of like push the giant, so the cannon actually didn't pull it. I was kind of maybe a bit wrong there playing the cannon in that place, and I was kind of expecting it to just walk there as it normally should, but unfortunately the prince allowed his giant to get like so much damage just from that. So a pretty bad start right here, but I do think we have a decent matchup here. We can like pretty much clog the lane really easy with the giant skeleton. We do have the cannon as like a really easy defense to all of his I don't know, pressure units, and also just against his giant, it's going to be super good. And also giant skeleton can kind of clog up the lane pretty nicely, so I feel like we should be able to win here if we have like a really tight defense, but we kind of have to catch up in damage quite a bit. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with a giant skeleton in the back here, being a little bit more aggressive than I normally would be, to be honest. Like normally I'd probably defend more with this deck, because having giant skeleton in the deck makes it like a pretty defensive deck compared to most other hog decks, but I kind of just want to be a bit aggressive here to hopefully catch up in the damage lead. And this might be a pretty hard push to defend, but as you can see, like, the cannon is just doing so much damage, so defending pretty nicely here, and we'll actually have to waste a queen there on defense and didn't even get the chance to use its ability, but honestly it's kind of fine for us right here. Like, we're gonna take his tower, I think, right there. Like, I think the bomb should just leave it with just a few HP left, and yeah, looking really good right here. And I don't think we're down too much elixir even after that queen, so we're in a pretty good spot here. Just need like a couple logs and an EQ to finish off his left tower. And yeah, also like Fire Spirit carries a lot in matchups like these. Like, it's really nice to have the Fire Spirit that always forces them to have like a negative elixir trait on it. Like, this guy's like no 1 elixir cards, I think, so he's pretty much always having to spend something super expensive to deal with the Fire Spirits. So yeah, looking pretty good right here, and Queen kind of just like clogging up the lane here. Also the Giant Skeleton Death Bombs are kind of just like keep blocking up the lane, so he doesn't really have too much of a chance to ever do anything. And his troops might be able to kill our Giant Skeleton, but even after they kill the Giant Skeleton, they're just gonna fall dead to the bomb. So looking pretty good right here. We just need 1 log left, but I think I might just VM this guy because he VM'd me before, if I recall correctly, and just gonna miss the log on purpose, just giving you guys some pro tips for VMing. And yeah, now we're just gonna go with the Earthquake here, and should be GG right here. Really nice win. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're gonna be up against this guy, and when you do have Giant Skeleton in the deck, your cycle can be a little bit awkward at times, so I'm just gonna cycle an Earthquake on his tower. I don't really wanna ever cycle your Giant Skeleton at the start of the game or anything like that. And looks like he will have Royal Hogs plus Fireball here, so I'm not really too sure what he might be playing right here, but it will probably hurt us a little bit having Giant Skeleton over Valkyrie in the deck. We don't really have the splash damage to kill the Royal Hogs, but I think Cannon should be hopefully fine, and he's gonna have a cannon of his own, so it might be like actually the meta Royal Hogs deck, except with like Fireball over Earthquake, because I'm not really too sure what else would be running those exact cards besides that deck. And yeah, so just gonna kind of reset a little bit here. It should be a little bit better for us in double elixir, so we can make like bigger Giant Skeleton pushes, but just gonna go with the Giant Skeleton right here. I know that if he goes with like a Queen aggressively, we can defend it pretty easy with like Skeletons plus Log and like a Fire Spirit or something. And he's gonna go with Queen in the same lane, it looks like, as our Giant Skeleton, but he's pretty much just gonna mostly die to the bomb if he doesn't let it die earlier to our own Queen and our Giant Skeleton. And looks like it will die right here. And he's gonna go with a set of Royal Hogs here, but not really too sure he's gonna actually defend our Queen because he did waste the Fireball. I mean the delivery is what I meant to say. And yeah, our Queen's just gonna get like a ton of damage on his tower, so we're already in a really good spot just like that. And yeah, so Earthquake's obviously really good against Cannon, so he doesn't have Earthquake in his deck, so he can't really break through our cannon, but we can break through his cannon pretty easily using our Earthquake. So yeah, he's gonna go with the cannon here, but it barely even does anything to our Hog, and the Hog will still get 1 shot on his tower. So yeah, looking super good just like that. And not really sure he's gonna break through our Fire Spirit plus Log plus cannon defense against his Royal Hogs. Like, even if he goes with like a Fireball, I think we're still gonna be able to defend pretty easily just using all of our little cards here. And looks like he'll go with the Queen as well at the river, so could be a little bit more sketchy right here. But I'm just gonna go with the Hog on defense, to be honest. Not really too sure what else we could have done right there. And unfortunately the Fire Spirit will die to the Log right there, so his Queen will get 1 shot on his tower, or our tower I mean. And looks like we'll go with split Royal Hogs here, but not really gonna do too much for him. He's gonna Fireball as well, but he's probably down a ton of elixir right now, so just gonna go with Hog plus Giant Skeleton at the river here. And he didn't even waste the Fire Spirit as well, so he's probably super low on elixir, and I'm not really too sure how exactly he's gonna defend this. And looks like that probably will be a good game. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!